I'm Chong from China, and I'm an MA student from Media and Communications.
Call me Casey. I'm from MA Film and Screen Studies.
Actually, it's like a very difficult thing for me to adapting here. I think it's mainly about the language barrier.
I think myself, after several months of study, I speak maybe less fluent than when I first came here.
My name is Chiay. I study visual sociology. I'm South Korean. I was born in UK and lived here for 5 years, went back to Korea, and then went to America for 2 years when I was at 12. Went back to Korea. 2017 I came to UK. I always tell my friends that I have international student accent.
My name is TaChun. I'm studying expanded practice. I'm from Taiwan. I do feel difficult to communicate with people in English. So the main reason is because my pronunciation is not clear enough for them. They will ask me to say that again. But those kind of situations do make me feel nervous. So it might potentially makes me don't want to express myself that often.
Every time I talk to local people or a person who has stayed here for a long time, I always go through this thinking process that which word I should use, which sentence, what kind of tense is right, and try not to expose my freshness in this country. We don't want to be recognized as super foreigners in the first sight.
I think I tend to use British accent when I'm with my British friends and when I go in a shop in a restaurant or in a tube, because that's the place where people kind of judge you, whether you're a tourist or not, whether you're Asian. People do get really impatient when you use a wrong accent and they're like, I'm sorry, like say it again, like I don't understand you when you say that. And I try to say it in British accent and they kind of say like, oh, I know what you're saying. It's stressful. I mean, it's not like the biggest stress in my life, but at the same time, you kind of have to endure it when you go out and say something.
I know people always think like Chinese students are always like staying together. They don't interact with people from other countries. I think it's not because they don't want to, but they are a little bit afraid of interacting with other people, mainly because of the language barrier. It's like lack of confidence.
In China, we have a lot of study abroad agencies, and even though a lot of students are from really high-ranking Chinese universities, they're not confident enough to write things themselves, and they will seek an agency to write recommendation letter, writing samples for them, or translate their Chinese works. So they don't have this kind of English experience. They're kind of like jumping right in this nation. Personally, I do have this sense of judgmental perspective towards those agencies because I think they are really harming the educational environment and the real Chinese student experience.
You still have a difference between your native language and your second language, that's for sure. But I try, and I think it's one of the interesting challenges here while you are here. Just step out of your comfort zone, so it's quite interesting.
I'm not very embarrassed about my accent because I have other things to worry about. It's like my word usage, grammar and fluency, but not the accent.
I think my Korean friends are really obsessed with the accent, but East Asians who are not Korean, I think they don't really mind with the accent. I kind of envy that. I kind of respect that. We're not perfect. We're international students. English is not our first language. And I don't know what I feel about this.